So you got the project set up, and have you tested it in some way?
Yep, I browsed project, and at first look it looks like quite with quite rich structure.
Quite what? Sorry, I didn't catch that.
It has a big structure, many projects.
Yeah, it is. It's it has gone many times. And, well, we developed this project for many years, so it's grown. It's quite big. Then.
Yes.
We had some problems setting up the project, but we figured out how to do that. So that's one step ahead. Me and Kenneth has been putting it together some documentation from. Well, we had lots of documentation, lots of documents. I mean, but not in one single document. So we tried to put it in one document for you that describes the project in well, very brief overview perspective.
Yeah, that would be great.
And have you had the time to look at it so far?
Yes, I read few pages from this documentation related to database structure and core parts of project.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it becomes pretty nitty-gritty when it comes to the code structure and the fields and stuff. But use this as programming references later on with you when you end up being stuck, as you probably will, because it's a big project, as you just said. I wonder if we could, if it's a good idea to put up a team viewer, so that we all can look at your computer and I can describe it from there. What do you think about that?
I think we can do it.
Okay. So, should we take your computer, or I think it's better to take your.
Okay. I'll share my computer.
That's great.
That's my ID.
Okay.
So here is password.
Oh crap! I have to upgrade my team viewer.
Oh, that's okay.
Okay. Hope it doesn't take long. Oh, that was fairly painless, I'd say. It's coming up right now.
Okay.
Please don't forget to share your screens after you're in, Andrew.
I should share mine.
You will work on Oleg's computer, right?
Yeah, that's great.
Yes,
So
exactly.
so please share his screen.
Okay.
By the way, just for you to know, we are recording such videos if it's okay for you. So we have them for future reference in case we get questions, etc.
Yes, that's okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Let's see. How do I share these? Share the screen we're looking at right now.
I think it's in the Skype.
Yeah, probably, but do you know where?
I'll try to find.
Video.
Oh, screens. Oh, do you see my screen?
Yeah, I see your screen. That's cool.
Okay.
It's just sharing it. That's I have no idea how to do that. I'll ask Kenneth to see if he knows how to do it. Vet du hur man delar en skärm?
You mean, Andrews, how to share the screen in Skype, right? Or
Yeah, exactly.
yeah, you just move your mouse pointer on a conversation on the person whom you talk to, and right
Okay.
button and share screen. So later I can show you if you don't mind.
Share screens. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, share screen, right?
Yes. Right.
You need to be on a call to share. Oh crap.
Yeah.
That's.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not. I'm using Skype from my phone, and I'm having my computer to share the screen. So I don't know if it's a dead end over there.
No problem.
Använd min...
Maybe I.
Behöver du lurar?
Ja, precis.
Använd mina lurar.
Maybe I could just join this conversation. Okay. Let's see. I'm just gonna mute the sound over here. Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you.
Det låter.
There's sound everywhere now.
Du behöver inte.
Ja, det är bra. Tack. Okay, how about now? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, that's great. So let's see. Okay, I think we're good to go.
Right.
Okay, so wow, what's going on here?
I just searched in solution to core parts.
Okay. Okay, so well, basically we got these two parts: front end, basically over here, and the back end over here.
Okay.
Can you see enough, guys, or is it just too cramped for you?
No, it's just fine. Just fine.
Okay. So the front end web, that's where we got all our ASPXs and web form stuff. So this front end is divided into 2 or perhaps 3 parts. This is the admin part that let's say we sell this product to member organizations, and they have an office, like say that 5 people work at the office, and those 5 people, though those work in this project. This is the like admin interface of the product.
Okay.
And besides this, we've got a public interface for the end user, for the member, for our product, for our customer. So say that this organization has 10,000 members, and all these members have a possibility to change their own settings and names and addresses and stuff. And these settings are managed through this project. This is a public project that is not as much admin stuff. Well, it's limited to only one person.
Okay.
So after that, we got some services. That is mostly a authentication provider that works with so both this web and this public web uses this authentication provider. Well, this is not an authentication provider. It's a service for the authentication provider. Sorry.
Okay, I understand.
So far, so good. In order to have some communication with the backend, we've got the client over here. This client uses a lot of small stubs. It just implements the interface and uses WCF to communicate with the backend.
Okay.
Then we got some, well, utilities, web controls, Excel functions, and a lot of customizations over here. We can take those later. We just skip to the backend now. So the backend is, this is the like service endpoints of the backend. Lots of well, WCF services over here. But there isn't any logic in these. It's just empty shells. So all of these just call the specific manager. Let's take another one. Let's take this one then. So this just calls the order manager, and the specific, it's the same function. Just delegates the function, the call
Okay.
to the manager.
Okay, logic is encapsulated in managers.
Yeah, exactly. And the managers is in this project DB. So this is our data access layer, and you haven't been given that, I suppose. We have, well, a long time ago. It's like perhaps almost, well, it's 10 years ago. We developed our own code generator, and that is not so much stylish right now. So we're keen on moving from this to some entity framework or something not proprietary for us. So we can just look at some code that is generated and you'll get a feel for how it is. I think this one is pretty small. We got a generated file. And this generated file contains some functions. Load, a couple of load functions, a couple of save functions, a search. Yeah, these are pretty much just internal search functions. So this is how we communicate with the database. In most cases, between we have this generated code. But in some cases, we have moved away from this and just written our own custom, really slim as possible to speed up the process in terms of communication or performance, that is.
Would you prefer entity framework?
I think so. I'm not sure, actually. You can please come up with some suggestions later on, but right now I think we shouldn't dig ourselves further into this path, but it's not worth it to invest a lot of money and time to migrate to entity framework right now.
Okay, I understand.
Because right now we have too much customers are screaming for us to implement stuff, and well, we don't have time for moving to entity framework.
Okay.
If we have a look at this, but let's take this news, for instance. It's quite slim. It's not as much logic in this this data entity, so we could use it as a small test. So we move to the client. We have this stub. Oh, sorry. So here we have this load operations. We have some search operations, and this is, I just want to show you how this search works in a fast manner. So just ugly code a function here, for example. So let's say that we want to search for news, and we have this dot search, and that provides us with a structure called data result. It's a generic structure that takes the returned object data type and news. And now we want to specify what to search for. And this search function, I'm not used to this resharper thing. Well, it takes a news search. So this search has all of the properties that the news table has on it. So if we move to the database and let's see here, check the news table. This is the exact correspondence to what we got in here. So all the columns is searchable. So let's say that we want to search for news that created between, well, a year ago and now. We have this column filter between it just writes stuff for me. So that's a search filter for
it looks nice. It is very object oriented.
Yeah, it is. I'm myself ain't so keen in link expressions, but well, it's an object-oriented version of a link in some aspects. The thing is that all these searches, if we continue using this object and continue searching on other stuff. Let's say I want to search by stuff that's created by me.
Okay.
Equals, and this is a user ID. So I know that the user ID 1 that's the super user of the project in all databases. That's the admin user and our backdoor pass to our customer. And the SQL that is generated is an property.
It's something with sound.
Limitations of this structure.
I don't hear you.
Andrea, could you please repeat the last part because we hear you badly.
Hello, are you here with me?
Yeah. Now
Yes.
we can do
Oh, sorry. I got a phone call and just terminated my Skype call.
That's okay.
Okay, so all these properties that I'm searching for, it ends up being an AND filter. And that is one of the limitations of our generated project code, is that we can only search for AND, something and something, not as entity framework as opposed to, well, give me all that is created by me or created in this time span. So it's a limitation of our generated framework, but so far we've coped with it. So we'll see how far it survives.
Okay.
Anyway, so this is the filter clause of the SQL. It directly corresponds to the filter. Besides that, I can also order stuff. So I got this search option. It's a generic that implements an enumerator. A news column. Yes. Okay. So search option, S options, order by, let's say, add. This is new. Item.
Some customer CD.
Date. Order by. Oh yeah, it's coming back to me. So let's say we want to order these by created date. Date created. And order direction. Descending. So in such a way this is the order clause, so we can specify that we want to order stuff by this as options.
Okay.
Besides this, we also got this paging built into the generated framework as options. Page size, let's say we want 10 pages, 10 rows each page, and we want offset 20.
It's like a lazy loading.
No, actually, it's all implemented in the database, so it doesn't load it's well, it generates an SQL that uses. Well, we built the paging into the database. To short answer. And that was one of the things that I didn't like at the ORM mappers at the time, that it used lazy loading.
Okay.
I found the performance to be low on those aspects. Never mind. So that is just one example how to use the generated framework and basically querying the database. Most of the, even though we have moved away from the generated code in some areas, we still implement this search filter and the order by search options. So this is the way to query the database in most cases.
Okay.
The result that comes out here is news for each. News. Oh, let's call it N, perhaps. News.data. And we also got news. Number of rows, that's the total number of rows that in the database. Offset and page size are those that you requested up here. So you get them back, and so the database tells you where you are in the result set.
Okay, nice.
Well, let's take a look at the shared structures then. Of course, there's some data structures that pass between the front end and the back end. And first of all, there's the data layer. Here we have all the entities that flow between the front end and the back end, and even some structures that don't flow between them, and just data structures in general. So here we could find the news. Let's see. News. This is the data structure for the news, and we got some old legacy. This stuff is not in use anymore. It's just present, unfortunately.
Will you reject this legacy?
Yeah, I don't see any use for it anymore. The background is that we used to have a MySQL database, and we wanted to limit the data that's being sent to and from that database. So given that we have this property in this say gate to the set property of an set of a property, we know when a property is changed. But now when we're using MySQL, Microsoft SQL, we don't bother about that. We just send everything up and down to the database and let the database handle that.
Okay, I understand.
So, yeah. So these are the data models. The data filters that we just used in the news example is located here. And we have this column filter that is a specific filter to one of the columns in the database. And as I said,
are these data classes common for front-end and end-end?
Yeah, it is.
Okay.
So all the projects that is located under this shared folder, those are shared between the front end and the back end. Well, except that one. That is it's a bit strange. I think it should be somewhere else, but never mind. We talk about that some other day.
Okay.
So we have this data filter, the data import is for, we have this import functionality that is present in the client, in the database. And it just pretty much maps how data should be imported into the database. Diagnostics, some diagnostics layer that is used throughout the project solution to log stuff to the database, to the event viewer, and in some cases even email. And in most cases even email the email error report to us.
Okay.
The interface, that's under the WS namespace. We got all the interfaces that is shared between the front end and the back end. Each WCF needs to implement an interface, and these are the ones.
Okay, nice.
I think we'll leave the rest in that project for now. The provider, that is, let's see, yeah, that is the Microsoft.NET provider that we can use from a, well, say Umbraco site or something. It communicates with the WCF service that is located under here. So we can provide username and password functionality for our customers' databases, customers' websites. I mean, sorry. The shared project. Yeah, the thing that, let's have a look at this documentation. It's okay if I scroll away from here?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Sure.
So if we put this in some recap, this is the front end. This is the project that is called Westarc Arc User Web, and Westarc Arc User Public Web. Let's say these two. And also, well, we can include the service in that one too. We have this orange box here. those are used for ingesting customer modules. We have used quite a lot of web controls on this project, and that is, well, one of the strengths, because we moved pretty far to be able to customize the project. But it's always also one of our deficiencies that we have to work against now, because we want to migrate and move towards a more well, rapid response, more of a single page design, and the web control stuff, it's hard to do that. But even so, should we take an example here, perhaps?
Did you think about ASP.NET MVC?
When we started this project, that wasn't even thought of. It didn't exist. So when we started this project, and when we built all the customization features, MVC didn't exist. So it's quite an old project, but we try to move on. I think we have to make some adapter thingies in order to move on to MVC and a more of a single page design.
Okay.
But that's a problem and a headache for the further down the road. Let's see how. I'm thinking here what to do, what to say. Well, we take an example then. Service sources, Westarc, demo. So this is a customer implementation or customer usage of the product. A customer consists of, say, five. First of all, these two folders. These two are modules that is built and can be ingested by the Arc user. And by the way, Arc user, that's the product name, and Arc member is the way we use it for member organizations. We have this idea that this project could be good for, we could use it for a community. We could use it for a cashier application and stuff like that. So we haven't used the application name member in the product itself. So that's a disambiguity between Arc user and Arc member.
Okay.
But even so, let's open this demo project in a separate solution. Oh, and by the way, it's a good idea to run the solution as administrator, at least the first time, because the application starts by it tends to write stuff to the event log, and it wants to do this under a specific customer name. So if you don't run it under administrator, you might have some issues the first time at least.
Okay, we can do it.
We can take it some other time. I won't start this project in this Visual Studio. I'll just compile stuff. Okay. Demo.
I tried to run a demo project this morning, but there were errors.
Yeah, I figure the demo project can't be run by itself. It needs to have the Arc user in the background. It wants to communicate with the backend services of Arc user. Okay. So we move back to the document now. Can we perhaps? Okay. So this blue box, this is this project. The customer, how do you say? The customer wrapper around everything. So how this works is that when we set it up on a server, we have this IIS site. The IIS front-end site, that is pointing towards this one, the customer project.
Okay.
Under the IIS site, we have got a virtual application that points to, let's see, points to this application. Let me just hack this document and describe what's going on.
You're welcome.
Public web, IIS, demo, Arc member, net. Let's say the Arc user customers demo www.et. Under that one, and this is a ES site application. What's it called? So underneath that IIS application, no, it's a call a site. Sorry.
This guy.
We have this virtual application called admin, and it's pointing towards points to Arc user.web. Oh, web, not wet. Virtual application. And then we have this public points to user web public. Oh, sorry. I'm typing this wrong. Westarc. West. I can't type my own. Westarc. West.
Okay.
Westarc Arc user web public. In this final application, we've got Westarc Arc user web dot services. So the big box, that's IIS site. The green box or boxes, they say that there are 3 of those, points to admin, public and services, that points to these 3 projects. Sorry. The same goes for the backend site. We have this IIS site but it's located under localhost with a port number. That's IIS site. And this one points to this one.
Okay.
And the same goes for in the backend site, that we have a virtual application. I think it's called services or WS. I'm not really sure, but this one points to the application called Westarc Arc User WS. That is this project. So by using this structure, we can have well, the cookies and the login authentication is viable through the entire top-end scope. We can share state, and we can share sessions and all that stuff. And when it comes to okay. Oh. So, are you with me and how this works?
Yes, yes.
When it now comes to the inner customizations, those are these two projects in the customer. So here we can build modules that is ingested into the core of our member, both front end and back end. But of course, the back end functions doesn't suit well in the front end code and vice versa. So we've got two separate projects for one module that is being ingested over here, and one module that's being ingested in the backend web services.
Okay, I understand.
So now further on, we have a brief look at the template system. If we look at, when we look at a user, just view a user, we use this view user template. So I'll switch to full screen here. And this template includes a lot of HTML, but also some specific tags that do some stuff. So, for instance, this resource item uses the resource system in the in Arc member, and prompts a resource that's named user in the class resource class user, and a user named user info under that class. So furthermore, we've got stuff like controls in here. That you see that we got a full namespace here.
Okay.
This corresponds towards a module, and modules. These are these orange boxes. Can be either in a user or customer namespace, or they could be in Arc user. So we use our modules ourselves to extend our own product. So let's have a look at this module then. Westarc Arc user, web controls, widgets. Let's see if that's a bad example. Yeah, we'll take this one instead. Westarc Arc user customization. That's the place that they should be in Arc user. In the namespace they should be. This namespace, we shouldn't use that anymore. It's legacy.
Okay.
So we have a look at this row. Control, type, what namespace and what class name. We have this called group select widget. Customization, widgets, user. So let's have a look in Arc user then. We have this project called customization. Let's say it was widget, namespace, user, and group select widget, I think, wasn't it? Memory is good but short. Group select widget. So this is a module that gets invoked and created when a template uses it. So this is a fairly large module, I'd say. Each of these modules, yeah, it's huge. They implement a few. It needs to implement one interface in this case. It needs to implement user widget. This is a pretty advanced function, so it might be a bad idea to look at it right now. Should I have a look and see if we got something simpler going on?
Okay.
Oh, I think this one is good. Oh, it's still it's in the wrong namespace, but we can have a look at it anyway. Just to get something a bit cleaner to look at. Something with 800 lines. That's not a proper start of things. So Westarc, Arc user, web controls, widgets, user relation widget. User relation. There we go. Oh, this is more convenient, right? So this is a web control. It implements a web control. Implements naming container and specifically this user interface, user widget. That allows for Arc member to pick it up and to use it as well in a view user manner. So how about we start this project? I'm just gonna have a brief, continue briefly with this and describe how a module works, how it is picked up by Arc user. And then we're gonna move to things that we want you to do in the first place. So, well, never mind. Members, that's where we got our users. So let's open up this Johanna Larsson. That's one of our co-workers here.
Nice.
So now we see that the relationship widget should have ended up in here, or it did actually, but it didn't do anything. So this one. So if we just put a breakpoint, we have probably a render, create child controls on init. Okay, so create child controls. Are you familiar with web controls in web forms?
Yep, sure.
That's great. So if we just refresh this page, we should end up in yeah, here we go. So in this scenario, we want to determine what relationships is between this user and some other users. And you see this scenario, a live example of, well, a search relationship from this user 360. Search options, giving a data result, page size, it's huge. Offset and number of rows. Well, we don't gather the data, so just continue with what we're doing. We can just test to assign a relationship here. Married to, well, that's might be inappropriate. Flatmate.
Is it functionality for community?
No, well, it could be, but it's used in our customers. Our customers use these functions to determine how, let's say that you are a member of a some organization, and that organization allows you to pay a smaller fee for your entire family. And by this, our system can keep track of, let's say that we keep track of the father that perhaps pays to the fee and the children in that family. And when the father pays the member fee, all the children gets the membership as well.
Okay, I understand.
So it's very much used in the organization that we're working with. Flatmate. She turns up here, Amanda. So now we end up here again. Now we got one row in the result. Data is user relation. We've got a flatmate relationship between Johanna and Amanda. So just there it is.
Nice.
Hmm?
Looks
So,
nice.
yeah, thank you. Even though it's sort of old Czech. So the first thing we need to know is when we build a new module is how to get that module into the system. And well, to be used by the system, that is. It depends on where the module is implemented, because if it's implemented in the customer namespace, in the customer project, like demo here, we use reflection to search the assemblies for specific interfaces. So that's fairly straightforward. There's nothing that you could do. You have to do when using a new widget or a module. But when it comes to Arc user, well, since it's reflection, that's not so performance. It's not good for performance. It's not something I want to do in vain and too much. So when it comes to Arc user, we have sort of hard coded what modules that should go into the project instead. So let's see. For instance, this front-end web control.
Okay.
Let's see. We find all references to this one. What's Control B? I think. No.
I use with ReSharper Alt F7.
Pardon? Go
I use
to
combination Alt plus F7.
I plus F7.
Yep.
So Control I plus F7. Or just
Just Alt F7.
I.
Yeah,
Alt
the,
F7.
the button ALT. Yeah, Alt.
Oh, sorry. Alt. Okay, Alt. Sorry.
Yeah, sorry.
There we go. That's nice. Okay, so in this scenario, this module is located in ArcUser itself, in the core ArcUser. And we don't want to use reflection to search for all the projects, for all the search all the classes that we got in ArcMember using reflection, because that would be a huge performance penalty for us. So we've said explicit here that we want to add this widget. And there's a lot of different types of modules that can be ingested into the project. We've got an example of, let's see here, up here.
Could you
We
show
have
a current file where we are right now?
yep, I can do that, I think.
Makes sense.
Web, let's see, customization. Westarc ArcUser customization, custom assembly. Web custom assembly helper.
Okay.
There we go. So I put a bookmark over here. So the module that we were looking at right recently was called a user widget. We got group widget, we got journal entry widget, we got user group widgets, and those are the ones that we can use when viewing a user or viewing a group or stuff, viewing objects, that is. Besides that, we get widgets for searching, located in here. We've got, these are, what to say? They have, they're easier to implement than a widget. A bit less functionality, but faster to implement. A widget is something like you can write your own HTML. You can implement buttons and so on with a widget, but with one of these, a user field or a user search field, you can just print out, you have a narrower functionality that you can print out. But on the different side of it, it's easier to implement.
Is it functionality for print documents?
No, not so much this. If you want to print documents, we want to write a completely new page with header and stuff, and that's what this iCustom web handler is for. So we can assign a module to handle a specific call that, say, we want to load documents. and then this web handler uses, well, it prints out the document in a binary format.
Okay.
So anyway, these are the functions or the type of modules that could be used in a front-end web perspective. So now again, we're up here still. And we've got the same stuff, same but different, in the backend. So you see that this implements a base class, custom assembly helper base. Let's see, Alt F7. No.
Do we have all model interfaces here?
All the model interfaces are, let's see, Alt F7. Usages. Document. That all the module interfaces are located in the interface project. And interface customization web. So here we go, interface customization. And we've got web, we got web service, and we've got two poor fellows that's, well, in between those two. They could be used on both ends of the application. But we have a look at the web right now. Oh. Here we go. We have.
I mean, in the constructor of this helper, we choose which interface we have to register.
No, actually, this interface is coded towards the web interface, web aspect of things, and we've got a similar one at the back end. Let's see if I answer your question here. Custom assembly data. We got custom assembly, and we got WS custom assembly helper. So this is the back end side of things.
Okay.
We got a different set of interfaces that could be implemented. Did that answer your question?
I think you did.
Okay, that's good. So I'm not just rambling over there. Okay. So this enables us to pick up modules that's located back here. We've talked about the blue box in here. That is the localhost website that points to the customer backend website, web service, that is, sorry. The green box, that's a virtual application, points to the this project with all the VCFS, WCFS. And the orange box, that is modules being picked up by this web custom assembly helper. Either it picks up hard-coded modules that is located in Arc member, Arc user, or it could use reflection once again then to pick up assemblies or modules that is located in the customer project. And then we're talking about this demo Arc user WS module.
Okay.
So if we have a quick look at this Arc user dev config, here we've got this how we map the assembly groups. We say that demo arc user WS should go to the assembly group customer WS. And the corresponding front-end module should go to the assembly group customer web. So that is how stuff is differentiated and ends up in the right stuff, right place.
Okay.
Okay, so let's have a look at this. Our project for you to start with now is that we want to be able to send SMSs when a event is about to start. So this is our event module. We can start to create a new event. I'll just give you a brief. No, we don't bother with creating a new one. Sorry. Give you a brief background of what's going on here. This event, we've got some let's see, activities, dinner, lobster, what do we, hamburger perhaps, hamburger. So and what I want to show you is this is something that the user can participate in, and it should choose between a lobster or a hamburger. Checkbox, radio button, sorry. And what we haven't done so far when it comes to this module, it's we want to be able to send an SMS reminder, a text reminder on the cell phone that says some time before the event is going down. We want to inform the user that, remember that tomorrow you have a dinner. And
Okay.
Quite feels like something is missing over here. Let's see. Edit. It didn't remember my options, but anyway. I was gonna ask my colleague here. Ask Kenneth one thing. Hold on 2 seconds.
Okay.
Kenneth? This SMS reminder stuff in the event, wasn't that supposed to show a drop down with times?
Date.
Date.
No, hours.
Hours. Okay. It just text box right now.
Yeah, hours. Hours.
Okay, so. Oh, okay. Now I get it. So that's a number of hours before the event goes down. We have the start time over here. And if we want to remind the user 48 hours before, we should type 48 over there.
Okay, I understand.
Let's see if it remembers that one. It's something strange going on here.
Oh.
That's not good. Response to pre-flight request doesn't pass access control. Whew. Okay, I have to check this with Kenneth. I think he's
Okay.
more suitable to help me with this one. But we don't have to do it in this big group. But still, on the event we have the start time, and we have this reminder.
Okay. Can
So-
we see if we have exception switch it on in Visual Studio?
You mean these front-end exceptions?
Okay, I understand.
They-
We
oh,
can't
I
see
think-
them.
I think this is the web browser that is, well, internal server error. Well, it should be. Should pick it up. API event. Oh, this is something major. It's not just a little link. It's something going on here. Could not load. As far as I can tell, it is this services project that doesn't work as it should. We have this event controller down here that is pushing out JSON messages and responding to JSON messages, and it doesn't appear to work right now. So it's something with the setup of the project that needs attending to.
Okay.
I think we can move forward. Besides that, it's just a shame that I can't show you the entire flow of things, but
Oh, that's okay.
what we need to have is the start time of the event in the SMS reminder. Let's see, I go back to this WS custom assembly helper. We've got something called a custom arc croned task. So actually, this picture isn't entirely complete because there is a different service. There are two different services besides this one, and one of them are called the arc cron service. That is responsible for invoking, and it calls the arc member, arc user, when it starts up, and asks arc users, do you have any cron services, cron tasks that you want me to remind you when they expire, sort of. And this arc member instance replies that we've got this reminder task that I want you to remind me about. So in 24 hours before, 48 hours before this time, I want to be able to remind this customer about that this event is going down.
Okay.
So you need to implement this custom arc cron task. And that you have a bunch of examples of that one. Let's see, custom arc cron task. So let's have a simple one. Oh, that's good enough. I'll leave a trail of open files if that's okay with you.
Yes,
You
that's
can, yeah. So there's arc cron task. It has an identifier, and when this service starts up, it asks arc user then that what cron tasks do you have, and when do you want me to invoke them? So what I want you to do is, for simplicity, have this cron task that is invoked every hour. I think that's a fair start. Next runtime is well, it's like this one. If it hasn't been run at all, it should be invoked pretty much immediately. If it has been run, we want to invoke a pause for now 1 hour. In the execute method that is called by this cron service, we have information about, well, we should search for events that should be notified.
We should write a functionality to notify with SMS.
Yeah, exactly. We got all the pieces. So the thing that you have to do is to search for the events that wants notification, and you know what? I just create a sort of a shell that describes the things that I see in this this point of time. Text mess event text message reminder.
Should we modify a first method to remind in 1 hour? Yes, here in get next runtime method.
Yeah, exactly. So it should be 1 hour instead. Basically, it's the same. It's the same as what one, but add.
Okay, I understand.
Hour. So I just leave a lot of stuff for you. We need this execute function. We need the others too, but I'll leave them to you. Execute. What you need to do here, here's 1, search for events that needs notifications. 2, send text notifications. 3, remember that notification has been sent.
Okay. What services can we use for SMS notifications?
We have an own. That is a problem. We have this other service. We have. I said here that we got 2 services that doesn't show on this architectural map. One of them, well, both of them come into play here. Services not shown in this map. Arc cron service. King calls. Let's see. Custom arc cron calls classes that implement Well, then the next one is arc bulk mail. So this service is responsible for sending out emails, text messages, and physical letters.
Okay.
Among other things. It also receives email statuses and text messages. So that's those aren't shown here. And this one you need to we need to use this one, which sort of is a bummer because we have to set it up on your computer.
Okay. Will it send SMS to my phone?
No, I'm not really comfortable with that actually, because in that way we have to open up the production keys on your computer, and I think we have to just assume that the arc bulk mail works.
Okay.
I think that's how we have to do it. Besides, I'm not sure about if we have any contract to send SMSs or text messages to Crane. So I don't know if we can, if we want to.
Okay, I just think that it would be nice to be sure that it works.
Yeah, I figure, and I appreciate that you're thorough, but we have to postpone that at least for now.
Okay.
Anyway, let's move to the second part here. There. We have this arc bulk mail client. No, you know what? I'm just gonna have a look at my computer, see where I can find stuff for you.
Okay.
Well, as you said, it's a big project.
Yes.
We've been working on it for a long time, so sometimes things are a bit, what do you say? They tend to be done in different ways, given that we've been implementing it for many years.
Did you implemented this project from the beginning?
Yeah. Yeah,
Great.
we're done all of it. Let's find this one. I'm almost there. Okay. Write SMS. Oh, there we go. So this is a good example of how we send an SMS. And it's kind of, we did this design decision that we wanted to use the same objects for sending a mail or sending an SMS. Something that I sort of regret right now, but it has been working for us, at least for until now. So we'll see how it works. We declare a mail. We set a subject and an HTML content and an ASCII content. Well, it should be just ASCII, but you need to set them both. The display name is, I don't think you need to set that one actually. Sender ID, that's the event ID that is the event that is about to be notified. Sender user ID, that should be a user called web service user, I think. Hmm? Okay, it doesn't exist in this database. That's interesting. You know, just ignore that for the time being. So we can move forward.
Okay.
The main aspect of things is that it needs to have send type SMS as opposed to no. SMS control F7 Alt. It could be email, system email, SMS, or system SMS. The difference between these systems is that they're not visible for our client users, that they can't see them in the list of SMSs or text messages being sent.
Okay.
So I think SMS will be good. Write the I don't think the subject has anything to do here. No, as we see here, the subject is just the 47 first letters of the message. It's nothing that's going to be received on the user end when they have their phone, when they receive their SMS.
Okay, I understand. It might be
Anyway,
used for email.
Pardon?
It might be used for some type mail.
Yeah, exactly. For the mail, it's very much in use, and I think it's easier to find the SMS or text message. I mean, if you have this subject, but it's not a necessity. Anyway, moving forward, this mail. How do we go to the definition? Was it Alt F7? Found. This mail has a number of recipients. These are bulk mail recipients. They have display name, that should be the first name and last name. Email, that shouldn't be the email, that should be the phone number. This is the tricky part when it comes to sharing objects between email and SMS. It's not pretty, unfortunately. So we see here in this example, I put a bookmark over here too. We declare a recipient, set the display name. Email is the mobile phone number of the user. Mail recipient, I don't think we have to do this. I think it's assigned anyway. And remember what user we have sent this recipient to. And then assign this array of recipients to the mail.
Okay.
And further down here, we send the email to the service, bulk mail service. Just that's all there is to it, to send an SMS or emails.
Okay, I understand.
So you need to mimic this scenario for every recipient in the mail. In the
Group.
event. You've got a list of events here. Result. And events are groups. That is also something you need to know. EVS, let's call them in that. I'm going to dig and see if we have some helper functions that enables you to load events more easy.
Okay. Sounds.
I'll write you an email or something describing this. The next thing that you need to do is to be able to say that we have sent the recipients the reminder text messages on this event, because we don't want to ping our customers, well, every hour, of course, with a text message. And in order to do that, we have a structure called remind. Remind. We can declare a new remind. Remind has an remind type. And we try to use enums as much as possible because it makes it easier to find stuff. And here we have. We should declare a new enum for this remind type, like event text message reminder. Remind the group ID is the event ID you're working with. That is the event ID and the group ID. Those are the same things. So if we go back to the front end here.
Do we have events in database in the same place as groups?
Yeah, exactly. You see that we have an ID of 164 here. If you go to the database and have a look at the groups, group, order by group ID, desk. 164 is something called DD. That corresponds to, well, this event name.
I see, good.
And now have a look at this column as well. We have this group type ID. I don't know if I came that far when it came to the documentation. Oh, sorry, that's the wrong one. Sorry.
That's okay.
Group human. Titta. Sorry. Swedish over there. This section describes the group types.
Okay.
And just briefly going into the database, select star from group type. We have this group type called event. So in order to get all the events from the database where group type ID equals 3, these are all the events that are present in the database.
Okay.
I think a good start for this is to write an SQL query right into the database that finds out events that should be notified right now. So selecting from groups, this start time, that is a group field, and the same goes for SMS reminder, that is also a group field. These field definitions using this view, we can investigate what field definitions we have in the database. Once again, going back to the documentation, I think that's in the basics. So we're looking at the groups, and we have this group field data. The group field data is related to field definition.
Okay.
So these are all the field definitions that is in this database. We can filter them by saying that we only want the ones that are relative to groups. The one with 2 over there. Field type equals 2. So we only want the ones with start date, and we have something called text message remind time. That one too. So select star from group field data where in 60 and why do I have 2 of these?
Okay.
That's interesting. Oh, let's pick out the other one too. 152.
Do we have only one
And
on the interface?
yeah, I think so. It appears that we only got one in this dialogue. Start time.
Oh.
So one of them corresponds to that one.
Yes.
Well, we'll probably end up seeing it when we finish this SQL statement. 164, that's the event we're working on. We were viewing over here.
Okay, I see.
So that is 160, the field definition of 152. But it's very strange that these 2 events only use the one named 60. So it might be something fishy going on here. I don't know.
Maybe it's legacy?
Yeah, could be, but I have to look into that. It is it's sort of troublesome, I'd say. We don't have so much legacy in this project, but when it comes to events, at least. I mean, there's a lot of legacy in the rest of the project, but events we just did in this this autumn, so it should be fresh.
Okay.
But you never know. Start date, start time. Start date and start time. What's the difference? Anyways, if you can write an SQL query just to pick up events that has this remind time, its amount of hours. Deduct those amount of hours from this one and investigate if this time, well, right now get date is bigger or equals to this arithmetic date time operation. The tricky part comes, you also have to join in the remind stuff. Select
To remind in 1 hour.
Now, so that we only get, if we have reminded an event, we can't remind once again for that event.
Okay.
And that should be stored in the table called remind. So what we want in that, let's see here. That was what I began to write here. Remind and DB managers remind save remind. By using this operation, we should prevent event with ID 1 of being reminded once again.
Okay, I understand.
That's great. Um,
Does it mean that if we have a group ID in table remind, then we can know that we shouldn't remind?
exactly. So I want you to exclude all. What I want you to have in this result, in this SQL query that you're writing, I want you to have group ID, just group ID, from something, lots of stuff, join some tables, join the group, join the group field data, do the computations of when to what events to remind, and also left join remind, where remind group, something like that.
Okay.
Are you with me when it comes to this?
Yes, I understand.
Okay, that's great. When you've done this, so that we can just get group IDs from the query, we can use that into a different module. But I'll show that later on when you've done this one, this SQL query. So your first task is to do this SQL query.
Okay, to do this simply in Management Studio.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
I think we can. Well, how do you say? end this session with this one, with you getting this task. Of course, do you have any questions that I can answer?
Okay. You mentioned that you will decide how to use SMS service.
Yeah.
Okay. Then you.
Sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, that's okay. And then you will inform me tomorrow or in future.
I will investigate in how to best give you the tools for sending SMSs, or at least having your code to accept the SMS messages without sending them. I'm right now leaning on the later one of those suggestions. We have to install this Arc bulk mail on your computer, or some server at least.
Okay.
And I'm just thinking about how to best do this.
Okay. And if I'm not mistaken, I should write as.
Yeah, that is correct. Are you with me?
Looks like we lost him.
Oh, that's a shame. Yeah, it's a marathon meeting.
Yeah, I'll add them again right now.
Okay, that's good.
Okay. This meeting has a chance to probably become the longest meeting I ever had.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. Really, we barely ever have clients explaining the architecture of their own products so deeply, and that's
Okay.
great. We get with the recording of that because it can be useful for both of us in future.
Yeah, I hope so. Well, given this 2 hour briefing of our product,
Yeah.
how do you say compared to other companies' product? Are we complex or normal or?
Yeah, well, this is a quite complex enterprise architecture out there.
Hmm?
But we have faced some more simple ones, some more complicated ones. We are definitely used to some complex front end on Angular, for example, mixed with S.NET.
Hmm.
So well, it probably won't be nothing hard for us to develop, but we will probably have some questions on integration because
Yeah, I think.
yeah, because this is actually a mix of products.
Yeah, it
That's
is.
great. Actually, we have such a good technical product owner. That would be a
Okay.
mess to bring it up without your help, honestly.
Hello.
Hi.
Uh,
Hi.
I'm sorry, we have trouble with internet.
Oh, that's
Uh, I
happens
just
sometimes.
use Skype from phone.
Oh
Okay.
my god! But how come I got normal internet on my floor?
Oh, I see. We have internet already
Okay,
on our computers.
nice. So probably get back on TeamViewer.
Yep, sure.
Yeah, I think we don't have to. Well, you were in the process of asking me questions, so unless